You hear a lot of people in the Western world that are upset that their politicians are not taking care of the crime. Crime rates are going up. What's your thought here in Colombia? Or is crime being punished? I never know like which to choose. Like Venezuela has some great rums.
Yeah, really good quality.
Oh, Guatemala.
Yeah, I would say that would depend on the flavor, on what your palate is seeking for.
Where does Colombia fall?
The good quality, the upper references would be on the drier
The
side.
drier side.
Yeah.
Are there actually Colombian wines?
No? Yeah, well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but we have to understand that we're a country without seasons. So, grape here would not be harvested the same way as in France or in places where do have seasons. So here, the grape produces too many harvests to develop a good quality of raw material to produce the wine.
Yeah, I think I've tried a bunch of these. What's the best like Bonarda Malbec?
For example, here we have Enemigos.
Okay.
Those are single vineyards, so small produce in small plots.
So we all know Malbec.
Yeah.
Bonarda is kind of like one step above that.
Below.
Below. So Bonarda is a little bit more easygoing.
More easygoing.
Malbec we all know, and then Pinot Noir would be kind of the best grape, you thinking?
It's one of the best, but it's below in terms of structure,
Okay.
kind of saying.
Okay.
It's more fruit forward, but when you try it from France, from the Burgundy region, you're going to find really complex wines.
What do you think is the best wine producing country in South America?
Oh, that's a difficult question because I would say all of the countries, they produce really good wines. I would say that would be oriented to your taste or your palate. For example, you'll have to try Argentinians Cabernet Francs. They're amazing.
Really?
And they're really different from a Malbec, and they produce amazing wines. For example, from Chile, they have amazing Petit Verdot or really good Carmeners.
That's what they're known for, is the Cabernet.
Yeah, of course. Or even their Cabernets are really structured.
One place in this area that people don't think much about is Uruguay. Uruguay has a handful of really good wines.
Yeah, and we have them here also. So we have Marcelans, we have Tanats, we have...
Garzon. That's
Yeah,
kind of like,
that's the one we have.
Oh, I see.
So we have
Yes.
from the
Garzon
regular
Tanat,
ones until up to their single vineyards.
Really? Wow. From Uruguay?
Yeah. And
$70.
yeah, and that's the only brand we carry from Uruguay. Let me place it here.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Just, yeah. What's the customs situation here? Do you find it difficult to bring in wines?
Extremely difficult.
Really?
Extremely difficult, not only because the taxes are really high, but also because of the process of registering the wines is very complex. The amount of documentation that they ask, everything has to be certified, everything has to be with special stamps, and the process could take from 1 to 3 or 4 years to get the approval to import the wines. So even though we go all over the world to find the wines, we get excited to find one excellent wine. Then we have to go through the whole process, and not all the states are willing to do the process of waiting and investing money and so on before we get the approval from the government to import wines. So it's a big effort that the importers and we actually do in our selection. I mean, you are seeing an effort of years of making connections in France, in Spain, in South America, just to work together with the producers to be able to get the wines here.
Wow. And so do you see a growing number of consumers in Colombia in the upper middle class and in the upper class who want to consume wine? Is that a growing segment?
It is. It's a growing segment, especially because nowadays Colombian people are able to travel everywhere. People go and study, they go out and work, and of course they learn about wines and they want to have the same experiences here in Colombia. So of course the consumption of wine has moved from special occasions more to dinners and special lunches and so on. We are not getting to the point of everyday wine, but at least people are consuming 3 or 4 times a month, which is great, and we have been able to double the consumption of wine in the last 3 or 4 years. So also the gastronomic experience here in Bogota has grown a lot. and that also is a big calling for great wines. So yeah.
I remember when I first came here almost a decade ago, uh, the passport was just getting visa-free access to Europe, the Schengen
Yes,
area,
yes.
and then within the last year got
Yeah.
visa-free access to the UK.
Yes,
And so it's a pretty good passport now.
it is.
A
It
Colombian
is.
passport, you can travel pretty much everywhere, and I think people are doing that more.
Yes, yes. I think it's an opportunity now that we have open doors overseas. We have access to Europe, to many countries. In the old times, as soon as somebody would see a Colombian passport, it would be a big, no. Nowadays, on the contrary, we are well received everywhere. So it's a big difference.
A lot of our team members, we just met some folks earlier today, like they all have US visas.
Yes.
Venezuelans have US visas. I
Yes.
mean, so the few places you can't go, it seems like if you're a successful person here, you can go there.
Yeah, basically everywhere. We are able to travel everywhere looking for wine, so we are a good example of practicing the Colombian citizenship. Yes.
If I would have said in the year 2000 that it would be like this today, what would you have told me?
Well, that it was a big hassle to get even the American visa was extremely difficult to get.
That's the hardest one.
You have to ask for a visa to Europe as well,
Yeah.
into each individual country, and it was a hassle, And I remember traveling before 2000, even to Greece, and you were always stopped, and asked for a visa, and it was a problem. One day I was stuck in Spain, going from Gibraltar, going to Gibraltar, and I wasn't able to get to Gibraltar because it was a UK territory, and I didn't have the visa to go there, even though I have the Schengen visa for Europe. So
They stop you at Gibraltar, yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's not happening nowadays. Now we have open access.
You can go there.
Yes.
What do you think has changed in Colombia in the last 10 years in terms of people's sense of worldliness and wanting to consume things from around the world?
Well, I think we became an open market country, so we were able to import a lot of things. We also became a more secure country as well. So people were also to come here as a tourist and exchange experiences and so on. So what I believe basically was the possibility of traveling and the possibility of getting to know really high quality products and gourmet type of food. And also how the whole gastronomy changed in Bogota and in other cities of the country. And we had the opportunity of getting a lot of chefs, Colombian chefs that were educated in Michelin restaurants and so on, and coming here to open their own restaurants. Well, it's been a big, huge change in terms of consumption and having the opportunity of expand all the tastes.
I think Leo is one of the top 50 restaurants in the world.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
By
and
some metrics now.
yeah. Well, I also believe the music industry also are bringing a lot of new people in Colombia, new wealth as well is coming here. A lot of investors are coming to Colombia and they decide to stay here and to live here, which is great. And they are looking for this type of products and experiences that now they don't have to travel and bring their wines or their spirits. They can find them here, and they can have the same type of experience of having sommelier educated and big chefs and so on. So I believe it's a big opportunity to attract people from overseas here to Colombia.
One of the things you hear about in Latin America that I think foreigners are concerned about when they look at moving here is safety, and you have less conspicuous consumption in a place like Mexico, maybe
Yes.
here, where you don't want to drive the Ferrari.
Yeah.
To what extent do you think that's still true? And if it is still true, is a fine bottle of wine or a wine collection perhaps something to replace that?
Well, what I believe is Bogota is now having almost the same crime level of any other big city in the world. So I believe people just have to take the same precautions that they would take in other big cities, for example, New York or so on. That I mean, the cities you have to be careful. That's it, But other than that, I believe people can adjust to be a little bit careful. But still, they have many places where they can go and be relaxed and enjoy the food. And there is nothing that a bottle of wine and good food can replace. So I believe it's a good thing that we are able now to have this amount of things that before we weren't able to have here.
You hear a lot of people in the Western world that are upset that their politicians are not taking care of the crime. Crime rates are going up. What's your thought here in Colombia? Or is crime being punished?
Well, we hope so, and I believe as a country, we have been under a long time of violence and crime, and in the last days we have been able to enjoy a little bit of peace, and I believe we are not willing to give up that so easily. So I would say yes, of course. I mean, we want to keep the same level of security, and even keep working for governments to reinforce that feeling of security here in the country. Yeah.
What's your message to someone who, let's say, lives in the United States and they think moving to Colombia, that's not safe, or I'm not going to have the services that I want? What do you tell that person?
I think we have friends, actually, many friends that have decided to buy an apartment here, live here part of the year, come and enjoy what Bogota and what Colombia has to offer. As Luis was saying, the gastronomy, for us, the wine, they can enjoy a lot of stuff here in Colombia.
And you can have many things that you cannot have in the States. Services, for example, you know, you can have a driver, you can have, you know, people doing your nails at home. I mean, a lot of things that are extremely expensive and difficult to find in another place. So, of course, the cost of real estate is really cheap in comparison with the States. I would say people can even grow in terms of the status, in terms of what they can spend and enjoy here in the country. And I believe a lot of people are choosing Colombia as a destination when they retire or when they want to invest in a different country, because they can enjoy it. It's a good thing about you know, enjoy your wealth here, and being able to get the services, being able to have the restaurants, being able to even to travel. You know, Bogota, connections from Bogota, from all over the world.
Very well connected
So
place.
exactly. So basically, I would say this is the ideal place to move if you have some wealth.
And I think if you just want to do business in Latin America, which I think people, I mean, we were just talking with some of our friends earlier. I think it's going to be a good place to do business.
Well, this is a hub now.
You're in the hub
exactly.
here.
Yes,
You're right.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right in the middle of it. And yeah, we were looking at some apartments. This is a culture where you have a nice apartment, you have a place for your housekeeper to live,
Yes,
and she lives with you. And almost from what I know from my Colombian friends, kind of like becomes part of the family over the years.
Yes.
Over decades.
Yeah, that's the way. Yes.
So you can get all that stuff here. You can be taken care of.
Everything.
You can be safe.
Exactly.
You can have your wine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Beautiful. I have to ask for our team. I know. I'm sure the answer. Do we have any Georgian wines? They make their way to Colombia. We should arrange that. How do we do that?
It's a complicated process with
It sounds like it.
It's a nightmare, but we're crazy, so we continue importing wines and seeking for new wines.
What percentage of people are in this culture of gastronomy and drinking wine? Like, what's the upper class?
I would say
A really small
1%?
percentage. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, between 1% and 5%. Yeah.
So you're here. This is kind of the epicenter of it in this
Yes,
neighborhood.
exactly. Yeah, here, yeah, you have the concentration here of wealth, of an offer of stores, an offer of shopping malls, and you know, and the neighborhood where people live.
I think people don't understand that when you come to a neighborhood like this, I don't care if it's in Bogota or Istanbul or Tehran, like people think maybe more in dollars or in euros. They think more international currency. They're very international. They're probably more secular in cultures that are more religious. Like, it's very international.
Even Colombia, if you go and walk the streets, you cannot identify a certain type of people. You have people of color, you have people really white, you have people, you know, mixed and everything. So we are accustomed not only have a diversity, because we get people from overseas, but also within the country as well. So and of course this is the area where everybody's ready to you know, to receive tourists and people from overseas. So a lot of bilingual people here, you know.
I was going to say that's an advantage here. So people come here and we speak English. So
French.
No, French. So it's easier for them to communicate and to get what they need, feeling comfortable not trying to use a translator or, yeah.
And obviously, for someone who wants to learn a language, I mean, Spanish is an easier and more useful language to learn.
Yes.
It's not like Georgian or something like.
And now people are really practical with the apps and everything. You know, when somebody cannot communicate, immediately they use the phone, and that's a problem that has been solved by technology. You know, which is great. You know.